What is up, guys? I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're covering r/confessions. It's a new one, and if you do enjoy, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it truly helps out our channel. And don't forget, we're on podcast 2 now, so you can take me with you wherever you go. And if you really want to be awesome, you can support the channel either through YouTube membership or Patreon, where we have different tiers and all that kind of good stuff. As I said, this is a new subreddit. Someone suggested it in the comments yesterday. I'm really sorry, I forgot who it was. And then I thought, oh, I'll quickly have a look at that one. And it looks pretty awesome. So we're going to read a couple of stories and see what you guys think about this one. So let's get in to today's stories. Much love, guys. This first story comes from a throwaway account. I plagiarized my entire dissertation and I got caught. It just felt too big, too nebulous. I have no idea where to start. I kept putting it off and putting it off again and had no idea what to do. I could have asked for help, but I didn't. How pathetic, I thought. Every other student can manage to write one, but you need help. Just fucking put your head down and do it. But I didn't. With 24 hours to go, I had nothing, so I found a dissertation on Google, and I went through and changed it enough that I thought I could get away with it. I didn't. I have a hearing in a few days, and I can't see any likely outcome other than being kicked out with no degree. I haven't told anybody besides a nice woman on the phone from the Samaritans because I didn't know who else to call. She didn't seem to know what to say though, and I can't blame her. What is there to say? You fucking idiot? How did you not ask anyone for help at any stage? Why are you the only person who can't fucking write their own dissertation? I'm so ashamed. So ashamed. I can't tell my friends. Students have fun at university, but I feel as though there is an unspoken contract that anyone can do so because they are all working hard. I've broken my contract and I cannot admit it. This shame pales in comparison to the shame I feel regarding my parents. I am dreading telling them more than anything. They have been nothing but supportive my entire life. They are wonderful people. They have given me so much help, sacrificed so much for me to get a good education, and I've spat that in their faces. I'm ashamed to be their son. Damn, that is rough, man. I mean, it kind of just shows the pressure that gets put on students. Isn't there like something in place where where someone checks up on these students, especially if they're like dormed or something? I don't know. I've never been to higher education ever. So you have to bear with me here. We're gonna check out the comments and we're gonna see if we can find anything else. The Dope Stantelope says, I mean, yes, you shouldn't have done this, of course, but where was your supervisor? Normally you agree on the topic with them, devise a plan of action and go through multiple drafts. I totally understand how a dissertation can feel like the entire weight of the world and then some. Currently writing my theses. It is a very lonely process, and just the thought of how much you have to do alone can be so debilitating. I completely understand. I can only imagine the desperation you must have felt to go through with this. Whatever the consequence, this does not and will not determine your life. Everything will be okay. Sure, it may be tough for a while, but it will get better, and you will get through this. The best thing you can do now is own up to your mistake, explain how you were feeling at the time, and try to be as open and honest as you can be. Feel free to DM me if you need to talk. And bless that guy, man, to reaching out like that. But yeah, it's like you said, this guy's going through it as well, and the desperation you must feel when you're getting close to a deadline and you need to do that. I can't imagine it myself because I've never been there, but I know there's a couple of people in my Discord, one particular person who I won't mention, but they've been writing, I'm not sure if it's dissertations or what at the moment, but you can see the pressure that's on her as well to do what she's doing. So yeah, it must be really rough. Our next confession comes from Throwaway Car Guy. Over the last 7 years, I've stolen thousands of dollars from people's cars. This is a throwaway because obviously I don't want to lose my job or face any legal issues if it's traced back to me. I'm an automotive technician at a very popular car dealership in the US. I service anywhere between 5 to 8 cars a day, depending on appointments and day of the week. It all started one day when I was finishing up with a customer's vehicle and I noticed several bills deep between the seat and middle console. Temptation got the best of me, and I looked around to see if any of my co-workers could see me and shoved my hand down and grabbed the cash. I went to the bathroom to count it and it was $55. I had adrenaline pumping through me for the rest of the day from fear of a customer noticing and reporting it. Days went by and it never happened. I got addicted to the adrenaline and started looking through people's compartments and all the nooks and crannies of the vehicle. I got a lot of expensive vehicles and you'd be surprised how many people just shove $20 and $50 bills everywhere in them. Most of the time it's just loose dollar bills and fives from drive-through money and change. I've taken that too. One day I got sloppy and my co-worker caught me and asked me what I was doing when I was looking under the seats and I was supposed to be working underneath the car. I just said I thought I lost the keys and luckily he bought it. I was paranoid after that, so I stopped. In total, I've stolen enough money to buy myself expensive watches, video games, including a console, and drinks at the bar with my buddies. I've made modifications to my own car and even bought myself 2 flat screens. I'm still paranoid to this day that my co-workers have seen me, but just haven't said anything. I feel guilty, but it doesn't change the fact that I've probably stolen someone's grocery money or kids' birthday money. There's probably more like me, so next time you take your car to the dealership, make sure you don't have money sitting around. Summer Sniper 13 says, good to know I'm getting robbed twice when I go to the dealership for repairs. Shadowmilk replies, how the fuck does it cost $400 goddamn dollars to replace a fucking hood latch and cable? I'm kind of at a loss what to say to these confessions. What can you say to someone? Because they're confessing, so, I mean, I could call them an arsehole for doing so, but it really ain't going to achieve much. But the amount of money that seems to be lost down people's seats, the amount of stuff that he's bought from it just sounds crazy. Wow. Just take all the money out your cars, people. Our next story is from another throwaway account. I constantly stole money from my poor parents for at least 5 years. I think I started stealing money when I was 11. My parents aren't really financially stable, and they worked really hard to provide for me. They always wanted the best for me, but I didn't give them much credit for it. It started with $1 or $2 to buy candy, but I found myself stealing 10, 20, and eventually got to stealing $60 to $80 weekly, sometimes more often. I used it to go shopping and go to nice restaurants that my parents never had the luxury to go to. The last time I stole money from them was probably 2 years ago, and I feel terrible about it. I'm still a student, so I don't have a lot of money, and I'm not going to feel easy about this until I can give them the money back. It just breaks my heart to think about all the trouble I put my parents through. They really could have used the extra money that I stole. Wow, that one hit me right in the feels. Someone below said, and it's too true, turn your guilt into motivation to provide for them. They probably knew but didn't want to confront you, or they felt poor since you had to steal. To which OP replied and said, yeah, he thought of this, but yes, totally true. Somehow pay them back, get some motivation and pay them back. I know it's going to be a rough time, but damn. What do you guys think of this one? Let me know in the comments below. The next one is from Peach Apricot 76. When I was in high school, I passed off dried oregano as weed. Grew up in Utah, where a lot of kids at my school were pretty sheltered. Mormons for you. Decided to try and sell fake weed to kids that wanted to experiment. To do this, I'd mix in a bit of weed in each Ziploc baggie of dried oregano, then slowly decrease it as people kept buying the bags. Made close to $1,000 in 2 years I did this. Definitely regret it now, as I couldn't have gotten in a lot of trouble, but just wanted to get this off my chest. I had someone in my year, actually one of my friends, who tried this exact same thing, and he was selling it to like the bully guy of the year, and he used to make a lot of money from him. He was just selling herbs all the time. I can even remember one time he actually done turmeric, and he told him it was some like super weed or something. The guy actually bought it. Our next story is from a throwaway account. Stole money from place of work, but I wasn't the one who ended up on the town newspaper. About a decade or so ago, I had this job in a small town. I was young and very dumb. My co-worker introduced me to oxycodone. I thought it was coke. It gave me energy, so I did it for almost a week straight. As soon as I stopped, I started getting really bad withdrawal, and that's how I became an addict. Now you'll see where this is going. Some money went to pills and bills and pills. Then the pills started becoming more important than the bills, and there I was, spending nearly a whole paycheck to where I was broke the next week. Co-workers would do these transactions for returned and prorated items, and I knew their personal employee numbers. My former co-worker would take here and there as well, but with my addiction, I went all out on faking returns, using other people's numbers to eliminate any threads connected to me. I remember I'd come home and feel like utter shit, very paranoid to the point where I was meditating and praying to not get caught, and also to beg for forgiveness. Eventually, I got let go or quit, I forgot which. 3 months later, a co-worker of mine got hit with about or above $5,000 worth of theft, with his name, picture and story on the front of our newspaper. Even to this day, I always think that could have been me. It should have been me. I definitely count my blessings. Oh, and I've been clean for a while now. The person who got charged had ended up moving to the same area I lived in. One day, we were drinking and he accidentally dropped his baby on his head, about 3 feet. I could see the look of terror in his eyes. Sometime later, a PI came into my work for my part of the story because apparently they thought he was beating him, which wasn't the case. So my story ended up saving his ass, which I would like to think karma somehow played a role in that story. Welp, there's my confession. I rarely share this story with anyone, but what I've learned is having a guilty conscience is imperative to learn from your mistakes and to make sure you don't make those mistakes again. Thanks for reading my story. the whole baby thing in the middle there that just came out of nowhere. I was like, oh my God, what? Was the baby okay? But wow. And there is absolutely no comments on that one. It's a pretty new story. So let me know what you guys think about this story below. Our next story is from a throwaway account. I robbed a bank of 50,000 currency and got away with it. I'm not going to say where this happened and when, but it wasn't in America. After a few years of living on part-time and struggling with rent, I decided to get myself money to move somewhere good, like France or Germany. I bought these things: a hair trimmer, eye colour contacts, a pair of shoes ×2, pants ×2 and shirt ×2, both different. I put one set in a bag along with a trimmer and Ziploc bag and a small shovel. I then dressed up in clothing set number 1 and wrote a note with my non-dominant hand. Hand me 50,000 currency in cash, loose bills, no stacks, don't even think of putting in dye packs. I also put a pair of winter gloves on since it was winter and it wouldn't be too suspicious to wear gloves. I went to the bank in a taxi, went around into the alley and left the clothing bag in the alley. I went into the bank and handed the teller a note. Everything went good and I simply walked out. I then changed and took the contacts off and took another taxi to a field where I'd buried the money and the clothing, and then I walked home and trimmed my hair. Waited a few weeks and recovered the money. I then moved out, found a job, and I'm happily married now. A happy ending, I guess. What the fuck? Someone commented below saying, confession or covert instructions. God, you got to be in a desperate situation to even think about trying something like that, right? And to rob a bank for 50,000, that doesn't seem like too much to me. It's like, that seems like a desperate move. I'd want a lot more than 50,000 to attempt a robbery on a bank, or anywhere in fact. What do you guys think of that story? Let me know in the comments below. Our next story comes from Ali Oops. I was arrested, then covertly stole my records and destroyed them. As a young teenager, a friend and I were charged with shoplifting over $100 worth of lingerie from a large department store, and I was permanently banned from all of their stores. Because I was so young and wasn't caught committing any other crimes, I was able to have the criminal charge expunged from my record when I turned 18. It is relevant to the story that, in my later teens, my dad legally changed his last name, and therefore so did I. When I was beginning my adult life and looking for a job, I applied to a different location of the store because, well, I needed a job and I was applying to a bunch of places. I did not expect to be hired, but I was. I ended up working at the central location of the chain, where they kept records for all the stores. I worked for loss prevention, catching idiots like myself shoplifting, and learned the obvious mistakes I had made, attempting my crime. We also screened all potential new hires to see if they had ever been caught committing a crime at any of the store locations. I learned that I was only hired because I had a different last name than the one I had at the time of my arrest, but I kept worrying that I would be found out and be in trouble. Loss prevention had keys and access to every place in the whole building, and I discovered that I had access to the hard copy records of all shoplifting arrests at every location. This was years ago, before computer databases were used for that kind of thing. One day, when the rest of the team were busy doing something else, I snuck in the room with the records and located the file under my former name. I also found the record of the friend I was with, because my name was mentioned in her file too, and I smuggled both files out and destroyed them. I kind of like the big twist at the end there. He started with stealing and, you know, he got a job, changed his ways and ended up stealing again. I kind of like that story though. It's a good one. Our next story is from Wise Cupcakes. I stole a bath bomb from Target when I was 14 and left it in CVS. I was Christmas shopping with my dad in Target and was looking for a present for my sister. I found a bath bomb and thought it would be a good gift, since she loves stuff like that, but I checked the price tag and it was $5 for one tiny bath bomb, so that wasn't happening. Right before we checked out, I was making sure that I put everything back I didn't want. I thought of the bath bomb. Did I put it back? It wasn't in the cart, so I must have. I didn't really think much of it. After Target, my dad wanted to go to CVS as it was mid-December. It was very cold, so I reached into my jacket pocket to get my gloves and felt something hard and round. It was the bath bomb. I was silently freaking out as I was walking towards CVS, my hand still in my pocket. I obviously couldn't return the bath bomb. We weren't going to be going to Target again for a while, but I couldn't take the bath bomb home. My parents would question where I got it. That's when my mind realised that there was only one thing to do: leave the bath bomb in CVS. But first, I wanted to see what would happen if I scanned the bath bomb's barcode in the CVS barcode scanner. So I did, and broke it. The thing literally shut down. An employee came over and apologised for the technical difficulties, and I was standing there, a guilty as fuck child with a stolen bath bomb in my pocket. I found the soap section and left the bath bomb there. since I couldn't think of anywhere else it would go. Every once in a while, I wonder if someone ever tried to buy the bath bomb and what happened. These criminals these days, they make me sick. Oh dear. I just picture this, this young kid just standing there with a bath bomb panicking. What the fuck do I do? Oh god. The next story is from Little Bitty Bitch 66. I got mad that I was falsely accused of talking in 4th grade, so I put a pushpin on the timeout chair. In 4th grade, my friends were talking at the table and my teacher called me out for it. He sent me the timeout chair in the back and I was infuriated. Of course he would blame the black kid. Lol. Seriously though, I was pissed off and grabbed one of those grey push pins with a round back and placed it on the chair. I went to the bathroom after putting it down and not really thinking about what I've done. While walking back to the classroom in the hallways, I hear a "oh" coming from my classroom. Almost sounded like Arnold Schwarzenegger moaning. I walk in to see him rubbing his ass and giving the long speech about how disrespectful the class has become. His face was red and he left the room. I asked my friend and I guess he sat on it while moving to the back of the class to talk to a student. Mr. H, if you see this, I am so sorry. Anyway, this was just a little pilot episode for r/confessions. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, let me know. Thought of this at the end, which is really stupid, but we could get the voting in somehow. Like, we could just do forgive or not forgive on each story. I don't know if that's something that might tickle you or not. Let me know in the comments below. And with that being said, thank you so much for being here. I hope you did enjoy it. I really enjoyed confessions, especially the last few. They were really funny. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one. Much love, guys.